Hi, I'm Sri. In this video, I'm going to show the demo for how to add 5 subject mark from the list constructor. For this, step 1, first we need to create the constructor, add the element into the constructor. And in step 2, we need to create the sum variable with 0 value. Step 3, using for loop, calculate the value. In Python, we have two types of for loop using for, in and range method. We can iterate all the values from the mark variable and you can add the value. Or using for, in keyword, we can iterate all the values from the mark variable and we can calculate the value. Here I am going to show this both method, how to use this looping condition to calculate the value. Okay, let's start the program. So in my first step, I created the list constructor, right? So how to create the list constructor? We'll see that. And inside that, I'm going to add the element. List constructor. So how to create the list constructor? In mark variable, I'm going to create the list constructor. List within a parenthesis, inside that one more parenthesis, and inside that we have to add the marks. So I add a 5 subject mark. Okay, and if we need to print this mark, you can use print mark to print the mark from the mark variable. Like this, it will print the marks. So how to find? This is the list constructor. This is a list. Using print method, in Python we have a type method and we need to use the type method to find what type of values we are having in this mark variable. So if you write like this, it will print class list. So we can identify this is a list element like that. Okay. So now I created the constructor and I add the element. In my PPT, I completed my first step. And in next step, create some variable with 0 value. Like that I return. So how to create the sum variable with the 0 value? Sum is a variable and we need to assign the 0 value. So using the sum variable, I am going to calculate all the values. Now my second step is over. And in third step, I am going to use the for loop condition for calculating the value. Okay. And first I will show the demo for in range method. Okay. So that means using for loop. Using for loop with the range method. Parenthesis na we need to call like a method. Okay. So using this, I am going to write the code. And in this range method, we need to pass the 3 arguments. One is the initial value, that is init. Second one is a test expression. And third value is a reinitialization. This is all the values we have to pass it. Okay. So now, how to pass the value for this 3 argument in this range method now? See, my initial value I need to start from 0. Okay. Array list string everything, the first value, it start from 0. We need to count from 0. Okay. And for the text expression, here we are having a 5 subject mark. Directly we can give 5. Or else, if I am having more than 5 marks, I am not able to find that, right? So for that, here I am going to use len method to find the mark length. If you give like this, automatically whatever the element, how many elements we are having in this mark variable, it will automatically count that length and it will assign the value here. Okay. And for the reinitialization, one by one we need to iterate it, right? So for that I need to give 1. So like this way we have to pass the argument. Okay. Now we'll start the code. Method 1. Okay. So this is a method 1. Using for loop, I'm going to write it. For I in range within a parenthesis, I need to pass the 0 as a starting value, index value, and len, and I can directly give the len method like this, and it will automatically count the length of the mark element and it will assign the value there. Okay. And we need to give 1 for the iteration. One by one we need to iterate it like that. Okay. So after this, put colon and come to the next line, and we already declared the sum variable, right? And using that sum variable, we have to calculate the mark by the index value. Okay. The first index value is 0, right? 0, that means 80. Okay. 0 plus 80, 80 will assign here. Okay. And after that, the one value will be incremented. Now the value of the I is 1. So for the first iteration, 75 is there. 0 iteration 80. Okay. And a first iteration 75. So 75. And already having an 80, right? 80 plus 75 will assign the value to the sum variable. Okay. And in the same way, 85. Assign the value to the sum variable. So it will calculate again and again till the condition is getting false. Okay. It will calculate all the value. It will assign the value to the sum variable. Okay. Now, after completing all the process, finally we need to print the total. Total. Okay. So we are having a initial value, test expression, and reindent. Without this, we are not supposed to iterate the value in this for loop condition. Okay. So I retrieved all the values, I calculated, and I am printing the output here. Just I will run. So we'll get the output. Total equal to for total value. Okay. Like this, in method 1, I used for loop condition. Okay. But if I used for and in keyword, okay, using for and in keyword, this method is called as a for each. So we are pronouncing like for each. Okay. So this is a method 1. I am putting in a command line, and using for loop I calculate the value here. Okay. And for the method 2, I am going to use for and in keyword. Okay. And how to write the code for this, we'll see that. And here, the first type I completed, and now I am going to use the for and in keyword. Okay. So this for and in keyword. Using for and in keyword, how to iterate the value and how to calculate it, we will see that. For m is a variable. Now I'm going to collect the mark, right? So for that I'm using m variable and then I'm using in mark. Okay. So now what is the meaning of this? Whatever the elements we are having in mark variable, that all the elements by the help of in keyword, it will assign all the value to the m. Now m is collecting all the output, right? All the inputs. Okay. And using this m value, I'm going to calculate the value. Okay. So how to write? Sum equal to sum plus m. Okay. So it will assign all the value to the m and m will calculate the value and it will assign all the value to the sum variable. Like this, continuously it will iterate all the values and it will assign the value to the sum variable. And here I am not having any initial value, just expression reinit. Without range method, I can iterate all the values. And I am not using the index value to print the mark, but here I am using m variable. Okay. And no need to find the length. Here we are finding the length, right? But here no need to find the length and all. Directly we will iterate and we will print the value. Or if I am going to calculate any value, we can do it directly. So that's the difference between for loop and for each. Okay. Now finally I am going to print this total. Like this. Okay. So now we'll run. We'll get the output. Whatever the output we are getting previously, same output we are getting here also. So like this way, we need to add 5 subject mark using for loop and for each. Here I used range method, and without range method, if we need to iterate the value now, we can go with this type of code. Okay. I hope you understand this concept. So here we created the list constructor and we add the element, and after that we are using the sum variable for calculating the value, and here I am using for loop condition to iterate all the values for the calculation. Okay, and we got the output like this, and having 2 code for loop and for each. Hope you understand this code. Thanks for watching.